One of the most important aspects of an environmental control system is we need some way to bring in some fresh air. We need to bring in fresh air, not just to control air quality to keep our birds healthy, but we also need to be able to bring in fresh air to control the house temperature, because the hotter it gets, the more heat the birds produce, the more fresh air we have to bring in to maintain a consistent temperature. When it comes to a negative pressure system, one of the most important aspects are our exhaust fans. We generally have two different types of exhaust fans. We have our sidewall fans, which tend to be something like a 36-inch fan that are primarily used during cooler weather or with younger birds to control air quality. Now, most modern houses have tunnel fans. They're called tunnel fans, but they're actually used just not for tunnel ventilation or hot weather ventilation. They're also used during more moderate weather to bring in air to control our house temperature. We have our exhaust fans. What do? We turn them on and they create a low pressure zone within the house, or a partial vacuum. We also have air inlets. So the fans create a low pressure zone and we have air inlets scattered down the house. Now what happens with that low pressure zone is air will enter through all the inlets in the house to fill up that partial vacuum. So again, negative pressure, air comes in through our air inlets to offset that negative pressure. How fast the air comes in through those openings controlled by the amount of pressure. If we have a low pressure, the air will come in slowly. If we have a high pressure, the air will come in quickly. What we want during cold weather is for the air to come in quickly, because when it comes in, it's heavy relative to the air inside the house. Hot air is light, cold air is heavy. So the air comes in, we want to make sure we shoot it along the ceiling so that it heats up before the birds ever see it. The amount of pressure is controlled by a machine. We set a certain static pressure range, usually between something like a 0.07 to maybe a 0.12, and within that range we'll have the air come in with sufficient speed to make it all the way out to the middle of the house before dropping to the floor. As more fans come on and more pressure is created, the inlets will open up more. One of the most important components of our negative pressure system are the sidewall inlets. The sidewall inlets are typically located evenly down both sides of a house, positioned right next to the ceiling, and they're used during cold and mild weather for air quality control and temperature control. What we want to be able to do is use an exhaust fan wherever it's located and bring in fresh air uniformly throughout the house so all the birds receive an equal chance of giving a nice, clean environment. Now, one of the important aspects of bringing the air in through our inlets is as the air goes along the ceiling, it mixes with the warm air produced by the birds and our heating system. So it might start off outside at 30 degrees. If we can get it all the way out to the middle of the house, generally it's going to be very close to room temperature. So when that air moves down to the floor, the birds don't realize it's cold outside. All they're feeling is a nice, fresh breeze coming down. Now, how do we know how much fresh air to bring in? Again, we have to control air quality and temperature. Now, when it comes to controlling air quality, the primary thing we're trying to control is humidity. We want to keep the humidity generally between 40 and 60%. So what we try to do is run those fans enough to control that humidity so we're not going to have a lot of ammonia and wet litter and bird health issues, but not so much as to use an excessive amount of fuel. The other aspect, of course, when it comes to those exhaust fans and our air inlets is temperature control. As the house temperature starts to warm, we start turning on more fans. And since our sidewall inlets are controlled by negative pressure, as more fans come on, it creates more of a negative pressure. The machine responds and opens up the inlets accordingly. So, exhaust fan operation is controlled by both air quality and air temperature. What we're trying to do, we start off with our fans on a timer, bringing in fresh air just to maintain humidity. As it gets warmer and warmer, we turn on more and more fans. And our inlets in this process are responding to the pressure created by the fans to bring in just the right amount of air to meet the needs of those fans. So it's all about control. The negative pressure system gives us control over air quality, gives us control over air temperature, which gives us control over bird performance, health, and welfare.